veteran in terms of A-League matches. And there's John Aloisi, who spent a year in Gosford, you might remember, upon his return to Australia as a player, featuring 15 times for the Mariners, scoring 7 goals as the club won through to the grand final of 2008. That after winning the Premiership. Thomas Hewitt-Bell is another one with Mariners links. He played 3 times for the club back in 15-16. So it's the Mariners in the yellow, get us underway. The battle of the basement is underway. The Mariners remain in need, but Andy Harper, perhaps Western's need is greater.
Good evening, Simon. Yeah, I can't imagine how Western United can stomach not picking up some points. The playing squad is too good to have such a poor accumulation. The Mariners last season was too good for them to be in the doldrums as well, but there's been more signs, as you alluded to in the intro, of them starting to see their way through the early season malaise. Let's see if Western United can start heading north, and soon.
Of course, the Mariners are battling on 2 fronts, the AFC Cup. Do you think that's had any bearing on their start to the season, along with all the changes in terms of personnel, of course, as well?
Yeah, I think that's the bigger one. You know, they haven't been able to adequately replace the gaps, fill the gaps that were created by departing players, most notably the Cumdog, who's now probably a millionaire.
Zaki charging that one down from Storm Root. And Adam Kurz is just going to stop play because Western United have got a player down in their own half of the field. It's Ben Garuccio, got caught by Miguel de Pizio, I think.
But, you know, for the Mariners, Simon, it's more just they're in deficit, the players left compared to the players coming in. And there was no real sign that it was going to be that stark. Here's the de Pizio lunge to knock Benny Garuccio over. Alu Kual might still be a great return, and he hasn't settled yet. A lot of excitement around his announcement. Angel Torres again might find his feet, but he's not a like-for-like or adequate replacement for Benny and Kololo either. And of course, in the dugout, Mark Jackson has to get the players earning some points to make the #1 departure of Nick Montgomery not look quite as seismic as it's been.
Here come the Mariners down the left. Pizio's going to have a go here, and it took a touch on the way through. The youngster not frightened to shoot. He got that goal, of course, against Tiranganu in the AFC Cup late on.
Yeah, he's a youngster as well. Very physically mature. Of course, you need to be. There's a number of teenagers breaking through into the A-League, and it's not just a matter of talent, it's about physicality as well, and he's got it in spades, de Pizio.
So an early corner for Mark Jackson's team, delivered by Torres, and there are a lot of bodies in there. It might drop for Jacob Farrell, but the whistle blows in favour of Western United, and they escape that particular scare.
Early side of it, Brian Caltech, I think it was, ball on him really quickly. There's Hall and Caltech. It was Hall, actually, who just couldn't get out of the way in the end. Caltech primed.
Moved forward by Thurgate, but the press has paid off for the Mariners. This is Josh Nisbet. Too many options wide right. Has to go back through Storm Rue instead. Now Brian Caltech. Touched by Tullio. Should favour Hewitt-Bell.
And just to finish the summation on the Mariners, it's Marco Tullio in picture there, who showed so much last year. And given the departures, a new player settling, and given his very obviously deep reservoir of talent, more's expected. Great chance for him to lead this football club with Cummins gone, and Kololo gone, Garang Kual gone. This is the time for Marco to kick on big time.
Well, he will feel he is due a goal. Saw some of the pre-game stats. 26 shots he's had for no return. Only Joe Lolly has had more in the competition. Let's see if tonight's the night. This is Daniel Pena, who lost all 3 derbies when he played for the Jets back in 21-22 against the Mariners. Scampering forward was Torres. Jingri trying to put the ball back into his path, but There's a little bit awry with the return ball. By the way, we have had confirmation. It's pronounced Jing Reek. Riston. Pena. There's a bit of room here for Angus Thurgate. We'll just lift it, looking for somebody at the back post. There was Riku Danzaki. Ball retrieved by Ben Garuccio. Danzaki again. Garuccio in position for the return. Now Steve Lustica. And Imai. Poked forward by Tratt for Thurgate. Spell of possession for John Aloisi's team. Riston. Who incidentally is looking for his 100th win in the A-League men's competition tonight, Josh Riston, with all his various clubs.
And so then you flip the coin to Western United. Wherefore and what for? How the hell are they languishing so badly this early in the season after an opening day win? And you look at their players in and you think, well, their experience and what they showed at the clubs from which they've come, you think this is front half of the field, almost as good a player list as there is round the comp.
And yet they are the competition's lowest scorers with just 3. Lustica almost losing possession, and Angel Torres claiming it was a fair play for the ball. Referee disagreed.
And then on that basis, if they can eke out some results, get some confidence, then Thurgate's been great for Newcastle. Noah Botic. Well, look at Milanovic going at Wanderers. They're playing slightly different positions, but the kit bag of technique and skills very similar. Milanovic is flying. Noah Botic not yet hit his straps. Daniel Pena as a jet was electrifying. You get those players going well, and there should be goals in this team.
Johnny Aloisi playing a, well, what on paper at least looks like a flat 4-4-2. Does that leave Pena and Danzaki at times too wide to make an impact?
Well, it depends on how consistent their position is and how they can set up. And Riku is a player I neglected to mention, but first incarnation as a Brisbane Roar player, you thought, wow, get him and Pena in the same team with Thurgate and Noah Botic. You've really got some potential with this guy, who over the years has shown some good consistency, Lockie Wale. So the bones of a team are really there. It just hasn't come together yet. The other end of the field I'm not quite convinced about with Western, and whilst the team is not, it's that scoreboard pressure thing, Simon, whilst the attacking players aren't putting chances away, it's putting pressure on the defence, and they haven't been up to it enough.
Nisbet turning back towards Jacob Farrell, who's got that left-back jersey back now that James McGarry has departed to Aberdeen. Nisbet working his way through traffic, and very effectively too. Tullio. Sure whether Tomoki Imai maybe just made a little bit of contact there with the ball, which stopped Tullio in his tracks, but the Mariners are back at it. And given away by the Brazilian, and then subsequently by Western as well. Kaltak. Dan Hall. It's all Islander partnership, I guess you could call it, because Dan Hall, of course, wants to play for Fiji. Hasn't represented the nation of his heritage as yet. Ryan Kaltak, of course, a Vanuatu international. Not seen too many of those combinations down the years in the A-League. Torres. Seen out by Riston. cagey opening 10 minutes. No real work for either goalkeeper as yet. Farrell. Torres. Nice little burst from the Colombian. Looks to clip it to the far post. It's not bad. Storm Roux is there. DiPizio wouldn't quite sit for it. The Mariners will get a corner though.
Well, that was really good from Torres. Really speedy incursion. Around Josh Risdon a little too easily. Thurgate can't knock him off his stride. Delightful little dink over to Storm Roux, and I think Storm asked a lot of DiPizio there. There was probably a little too much pepper on that pass for the youngster to seriously threaten the goal. Better signs from this guy, Torres. Cololo was such an effective player for the Mariners in their run to the title.
Runners ready to make their move. Tulio's delivery and headed in by Dan Hall. Clean contact. And the Mariners hit the front. Bang on 11 minutes. The perfect execution of the set piece.
He couldn't quite line up for the first one that came his way, Dan Hall. On the Harvey Norman replay, he doesn't muck around with this one. It's a really powerful header. It's quite soft defending. It was soft defending from Western to allow Torres such passage to threaten the defence in the first place, with the corner coming ultimately. And then when it's slung in, it's Dan Hall really unchallenged. He's too big and he's too good from that range. And he makes it one with a powerful finish.
Off go the Cannons in celebration. Celebrated his 50th game last week for the club, Dan Hall. And that's just his third goal in the Isuzu Ute A-League men's competition. Good start for Mark Jackson's team. And ominous signs again for Western United. When conceding the first goal this season, it's played 5, lost 5 prior to today. Can they break that sequence this evening?
Yeah, I don't think the video analysis of the play leading up to the corner and the corner itself will be terribly impressive. Players will be hiding for the corner of the room. A team that needs to be desperate was found wanting.
Jacob Farrell was desperate there to keep it alive, couldn't quite do so. So a throw in to be taken by Risdon. Pena. Risdon, it's the right idea, and Farrell's outstretched leg gives Western United a corner. Jacob Tratt is one of the potential targets towards that central area. Powerfully away by Kaltak, back in by Pena. Up it loops in the air. Torres won it. And the Mariners could be off on the counter here. Tulio steaming forward down the left. Nisbet the ball carrier. And he threads it through beautifully. Big chance here. That would have been a superb goal, but for Thomas Hewitt-Bell. From one end of the pitch to the other for the Mariners. A razor-sharp counter. Back come Western. Pena. And there's room here for Lockie Wales. Slides it through. Lovely ball by Wales. Good save by Vukovic. Botic is there again. Brilliant action at both ends of the park.
Isn't it great action? And firstly, Josh Nisbet, what a super player, and how well he started this game. It's an excellent save by Hewitt-Bell, by the way. And then as Western spring upfield. This is a terrific pass from Lachie Wales, but Noah Bodic just not sharp enough. When the ball first came through, not sharp enough. The contact he made thereafter to try and make up for it was good. Not good enough to beat Danny Vukovic, but a sharp Noah Bodic nails that first touch, and gives himself a better chance at goal. Well done, Thomas Seward-Bell. Going down 2 so early would have been an utter disaster for Western. But what about Joshy Nisbet?
What about that foul by Risdon? It's going to attract sanction. It's just fortunate it was pretty high up the pitch, or the colour could have been different. Josh Risdon's 4th booking of the campaign already. He's on the brink of a ban, which he will receive if he gets another one. Wales reaching for the ball and deflecting it into the path of Botic. Wales has stayed down. It's Riku Danzaki in possession. Support now from Garuccio. Goes back further for Lustica. And they've rather wasted that good field position, Western United. Lachie Wales. Now back to his feet. Showed too much of it to DiPizio. There's a little collision between Tratt and Jengreek. Nothing untoward. Western throw.
Yeah, good game. Opening 15 minutes been very, very sharp in general. A couple of moments really impressive from the Mariners. And Western just trying to get out of their sluggishness. Defensively caught short for the first goal, and it's not quite sharp enough with the one really good chance they've had, but otherwise looking like they might break out of the slumber, Western. The game started really well.
They've got a free kick here. The infringement by Storm Root. By the way, that goal from Dan Hall, it's the 4th goal that Western have conceded this season already from a corner. And the 5th in the air. As you can see, that's the worst in the league. Well, that's one area they've got to fix. Defending from set pieces. What about attacking from set pieces? We're about to find out. Pena leaves it. Wales delivers. And up and away it goes by Ballard. It's a deft little touch by Ben Garuccio. Squares it up, and there's a bit of time here. A bit of foul by Jengreek, yeah, and Kurz is going to bring them back again.
Well, the Mariners are defending with real edge on them. There's good ball movement from Western, and just it's not just the circumstance of the season start for the Mariners. They realise the potential danger in this Western attack. And look at those two guys on screen. Everybody knows Noah Bodic has got plenty of potential. Riku Danzaki, Thurgate, a good attacking midfielder. The Mariners don't need to be told. They're defending like that as well, making it difficult as they can for Western to break through.
Ball of 4 for Danny Vukovic. They're going to be Pena or Wales. This time it is Pena. And another corner for Western United. Tratt trying to make his presence felt. There's the delivery, it's not bad. It's a decent enough area. Botic got the final touch. That's perhaps a telling statistic, Hubs. 70% of the duels have been won by the Mariners. Maybe just that little bit more desperate, which of course you have to be down at the bottom. Riston. That wasn't really there for Josh Riston. Imai helps him out. Pena. It's a bit to ponder for John Aloisi at the moment. The Mariners' fourth consecutive home match after that rather shaky start to the campaign. Knew they needed to get some points on the board from games in front of their own supporters. Talking of which, that Dan Hall goal, also their 350th in the competition at Industry Group Stadium. Milestone for Dan Hall. Vukovic going long. Generique causing havoc. Oh, and if that had got through to Torres, Western would have been in all sorts of trouble. On by Garucho, won comfortably enough by Kaltak, and the loose ball is picked up by Nisbet, has players to his left. Julio squares it. Oh, a matter of millimetres wide of Angel Torres, and Josh Nisbet central to it once again.
I mean, it's unfortunate for Western. There's a player slip, but is there anyone better in the comp at the moment, charging out of midfield with ball at feet, like Josh Nisbet? And there's plenty of, not plenty, there's a few, there are bigger names in the league in that part of the field, but few as effective as him. He's set up 2 or 3 chances already in 20 minutes with that type of move. Brilliant.
Here's Farrell, who's got away from Lustica. Has to settle for a corner off Tomoki Imai.
In the end, the Mariners being pretty generous with Western. That last attack, it was Torres who couldn't nail the finish. Farrell might have done better with that cross. Let's see how Western's defending goes from this corner. They've been found wanting twice already.
And 4 times already this season. They need to defend this properly. It comes off Torres, back post was Kaltak! The 2 central defenders are now on the score sheet. The Vanuatu follows the would-be Fiji international, and the Mariners are 2 clear. And again, Western have been undone by the set piece.
The Western United players are asking if the corner went out before it came back in. We'll wait and see if VAR can confirm that. Here's the corner from Torres on the Harvey Norman replay, but in the end there's 2 Mariners players that jump and no Western players jump. Imai's there, beaten twice now for 2 goals, and Josh Riston can't join in to any meaningful effect to save his team. I'm not even sure if Brian Kaltak knew much about that one, but he leapt high and let physics do the rest.
I think it came off the back of the head, didn't it? But he doesn't care. It's just his second goal in the competition. They both come at this venue this season. Scored against MacArthur, and he's repeated the trick again tonight. Just a slight delay before we resume to make sure that that ball did stay in off Angel Torres. And the officials are happy. And on we go. And goodness me, Harbs. It's a fair way back already for Western. You've got to defend set pieces better than that.
You know, I was alluded at the top of the game, top of the broadcast, that whilst I think they've potentially got a great attacking team, I'm yet to be convinced that they can hold water defensively. And unfortunately, that doubt has been vindicated. Again, Johnny Aloisi with a big job to do. I wonder if there'll be a change of approach defending set pieces tonight. They've started defending as a zone from corners. Might just be better getting defenders to get angry, to roll their sleeves up, and just to chase, to mark tight and chase people. Stand on their feet. Be a pest. Don't give Caltech a free run at the ball or haul. Find yourself 3 or 4 down.
Garucho made good ground into the box by Danzaki and flicked off the head of Noah Botic, just wide. That's better from Western.
Yeah, they've not done bad going forward. Noah Botic does particularly well here. That was a difficult pass to connect with, but actually does really well. Might have embarrassed Caltech and Farrell there. Slightly different angle on the ball coming in. Difficult for him to control. He's a youngster with, in my opinion, huge promise.
And just on Western's defence, of course, they got James Donachie to come back in. They have lost Leo Lacroix's height defending those set pieces.
Yeah, they had his height last year, but they lost him.
Yep.
He just didn't contribute. Yeah. He was brilliant in the championship year. I think in fairness to Leo, history can't rub that out, but he was pretty poor last year.
I'll make that just one clean sheet in the last 20 A-League matches now for Western United. As for the Mariners, they've yet to keep a clean sheet so far this season as well. If they do so from here on in, another 3 points will be banked. There could be it again here. Tullio, that's a really good intervention by Jacob Tratt. Possibly a goal-saving contribution.
If he'd just got that half yard, Tullio would have backed him one-on-one. And it was well done from Jacob Tratt. He asked the question of Tratt and he's nearly got him, and he slides in desperately. And to the ultimate effect.
Let's quickly go down and say good evening to Daniel Garby, sideline for us.
Good evening, Simon. It's a wonderful night to be on the sideline in the Central Coast, unless you're wearing the colours of Western United. Of course, we know how beautiful a stadium this is. The home side, 2 to the good, and the home fans in fine voice. And they've got more reason to be excited here, potentially.
Go back to Garby. Here's Angel Torres looking to make it 3. He might stand him up for now. It's there for Jacob Farrell with the cutback. And Western should be able to clear their lines from here. Back to you, Garby.
It's just a really enjoyable night. I mean, the reports of the storm seem to have subsided. Nice breeze coming through next to the water here, and plenty of fans who were there front and centre for that championship last season, of course, enjoying being in full voice for their team that seems to have not only stabilised but found their verve a little bit tonight as well. Early days, of course, but they're enjoying themselves here at Central Coast Stadium.
Thanks, Garby. Ballard. Well, there's nobody within 10 metres of Angel Torres. He pings it over the top for Tullio, who will return it looking for Jingri. Up and away by Tomoki Imai. Western showing enough desperation
Well, there are worrying signs that a disappointing start could come completely unstuck.
Torres. Tulio calling for it back post. Goes square for Nisbet. Lovely ball by Nisbet. Tulio, it wasn't the best first touch from the Brazilian, and he knows it.
And that's where he's at, Simon. That's my point. You know, we saw enough last year to get so excited. And he just hasn't filled the space, but Nisbet has. Look at this for a pass. It's superb. The touch is not superb from Tulio. He knows it. That's normally a bankable and more direct effort on goal, but maybe this is a more direct route to goal for the Mariners.
Yep.
3 corners, 2 goals. Still in the zone defence, Western United. Who's going to track Hall? Who's going to track Caltech?
The Mariners corner. Is it nosebleed territory again for Western United? Can they defend properly this time? Bit of variation for the Mariners. And up towards Caltech. Western deal with that one. Here's DiPizio. Little slip on takeoff. He'll get a throw off Risdon.
Well, I think that variation from the corner was a little bit gratuitous, actually. I'm not sure. The Western defenders would have been bricking themselves that another one's coming in and we're not going to handle it. Why take the pressure off?
Caruccio has further relieved that pressure. Thurgate square for Imai. It's a good stretch by Farrell. And he's in position for the return, and the Mariners are good to go again. Tulio. Pena tracking back. Ignores Farrell. Tulio. Credit to Angus Thurgate, who got his body in the way. Now Botic slides it out in front of Lockie Wales. Lockie Wales claiming that he was caught. Maybe it was the bench more than the player. They are yet to score a first-half goal this season, Western United, the only club in the competition yet to do so. A couple of sights of the Mariners' goal. Botic with the best of them.
Yeah, again, it's sort of everything you feel about Western life. Talking to other people coming into this game has been on clear view here. There's promise going forward. There's a difficulty in handling them going forward. But equally, Simon, in half an hour, it's been a bit of a procession going the other way. The Mariners could have skipped clear. They're looking much better, the Mariners, which is terrific. But still not in championship form, or else this one could have been put to sleep already.
No one's got away from Tulio. Western give the ball straight back. Farrell. DiPizio. Brian Caltech. Farrell again. To the channel for the run of Jingrik. DiPizio. Tulio. Nisbet. Really relishing that role of being the main playmaker, if you like. Caltech. DiPizio. Start again through Dan Hall. Nisbet. Worked out wide towards Tulio. And Tulio's going to have a go here. It was a good one too. Half battered away by Hewitt Bell, and Rue didn't really get hold of the follow-up. Still might be there for him. And Garuccio makes the block, and Western survive. They are hanging on. And the Mariners will come again. DiPizio. Ballard. Kaltak. Farrell gets the return off Tullio. That's a cheap turnover. Will Pena do anything with it? He was blocked off by Ballard. Free kick.
Yeah, might be fortunate to get away with that as a yellow card. Maxi Ballard, who gave the ball away and then looked to fix things up. Tom Hewitt-Bell putting that into the path of Storm Roo, who couldn't fix things up for the Mariners. 3-0. Jeez, I don't know if the United boys come back from that. And with a little bit more conviction in the final third, the Mariners would be out of sight. 2/3 of their game has been excellent. The final decision, the final touch hasn't been excellent, and that's what's keeping, so far, Western United within reach.
They do maintain their record, though, the Mariners, having scored in what is now 21 consecutive home matches. It's got away from Risdon. The last time they failed to score was a 5-0 home loss to Sydney FC, April 2022. And Risdon's frustrated with himself. Not more so than his coach, though, of course.
Well, it's a great opportunity opening up here. Josh Risdon over many years has been excellent. A Socceroo of high standing, great club man as well. But that's not in his highlights reel. Capable of much better. It's a good chance it would have been for Western. Jacob Farrell played himself out of the game with a bad misjudgment.
Wales wins that duel. He's in position for the return, but it's a good sliding challenge that from Jacob Farrell. Keep his fellow coastie at bay. Given away by Kaltak. Thurgate ferries it wide for Wales. Risdon stepping inside Torres. It's a little bit of contact from the Colombian. Another free kick for Western United. Maybe this side will suit Daniel Pena more.
Well, that's a lazy bit of work from Angel Torres, because there were two Central Coast players looming to defend directly Daniel Pena. See if they can conjure something this time.
I wonder whether Pena might fancy a crack at this, but we'll see. Yep, thought he might go for it.
Good intuition, Simon, real good intuition. And not a bad try. Certainly to try and catch Danny Vukovic off guard. I thought Danny was a little bit short in facing up to the Volupile goal last week for Melbourne victory. Maybe the scouting report tipped the scales in favour of that direct shot on goal from Daniel Pena. Vukovic had it covered quite comfortably in the end anyway.
He's just been given the hurry along by Adam Kersey. Win for the Mariners tonight would take them level on points with Melbourne City in 7th. Would actually move them above the club from Victoria on goal difference if it was to remain a 2-goal margin. Long way to go still in Gosford. Imai. Risdon. Angle it in behind Kaltak, who defended it well. First of 2 games on this Friday night, of course. Perth Glory and Melbourne City to follow after this game over in WA. See that live on Paramount Plus as well. I'm sure Perth will be glad to get back home after their recent travails on the road. This is Jacob Trent as we move into the last 5 minutes of the first half. Just gave Josh Risman a bit too much to do. Mariners at the moment pretty comfortable, slowing the game down to walking pace. Ballards, now they'll quicken up. Tilio was collected by Imai, and Adam Kersey will bring them back.
There's too much space, I would say, as one prescription for Western's problems at the moment. Too great a distance between their back four and the front press. The Mariners picking their way through midfield very, very effectively. They're compressing things a bit better now. The general trend has been too much space. The Central Coast in which to play, and they've played in it, enjoyed it.
Nisbet losing out to Thurgate and committing the foul, and Weston getting a little bit frustrated. Angus Thurgate, I'm sure, just asking Adam Kersey if he's keeping count. Danzaki. Thurgate, veteran of many an F3 derby, he's found that bit of space nicely for Riku Danzaki. Dan Hall made the block. Further away by Rue. Back will come Weston. That's a clever leave that by Lockie Wales. I'm reading that one correctly, but it was deliberate. Here's Ben Garuccio. Deflected up in the air. Still not fully away for the Mariners. Now they've got a bit more time. Farrell. Fancy that XG might have been a bit higher for the Mariners.
Yeah, me too. Except that whoever's crunching the numbers is also a little bit disappointed with their final third decision-making or touch. But the way the game has gone, they've looked very likely.
To be fair, it's not that usual. You get 2 goals direct from corners either in a game. Nisbet, a little glance over the shoulder to see where Thurgate was. And Dan Hall to go along, looking for Jing Reek, and he flicks it on beautifully, the big striker. This is Angel Torres. Tulio arriving. Marco Tulio! Beautiful goal! Absolutely sensational from the Brazilian. He's off the mark this season. Ends a 7-game goal-scoring drought. And the Mariners almost home for the 3 points before half-time.
Well, there might be a slight question mark about offside from the glancing header. That one will play out as the Mariners fans enjoy the moment. The ball over the top, pretty innocuous sort of situation. He's going to be onside by a mile. And the former Marconi Jr., Jing Reek, jumping like a startled stallion, flicking the ball over. Ultimately, it finishes at the magical feet of Marco Tulio. Hall to Reek, to Torres, to Tulio, to beautiful. And 3-0, about where the difference between the teams is at. That's what Tulio's got in his kit bag. Beautiful.
Mariners had to wait a while, but that was, never mind centimetre, millimetre perfect from the Brazilian. There's always something just that little bit extra satisfying, isn't there, about a goal that goes in off the angle of post and bar. Maybe not if you're John Aloisi, because that is a crushing blow for Western United.
It so is. And that was excellent from Jing-Reek there too. Beautifully controlled, glancing header to really open up the opportunity. Finished ultimately and beautifully by the Brazilian. Mariners almost back, Simon, almost. I say almost because the championship form of last year would have had them arguably clear by more than 3. But beggars won't be choosers at this point.
Sorry, go on, Hobbs.
I was just going to say much more heartening for the Mariners fans to see their team moving around like this.
Western United dressing room, Hobbs, will be an interesting place to be at half-time. It's not quite as devastating, perhaps, as the first half they had against Western Sydney Wanderers back in round 2, where they copped 5. But again, they've been just too easy to score against. And as you pointed out, Hobbs, quite frankly, could have been more.
Nice Reek again. What a handful.
Farrell steaming forward. Tullio. Still Marco Tullio. It'll break here for Angel Torres. 2 minutes of stoppage time almost up. Cross into the near post is fended away by Tomoki Imai, and they will be glad to hear the half-time whistle when it comes, which duly arrives courtesy of Adam Kersey. Big round of applause for the home side from their fans. 2 central defenders, 2 corners, 2 goals, too easy. And then Marco Tullio simply bedazzling with his finish for his first goal of the season. Western United, no answers, and with a big job to do in the second half. At the break in Gosford, Central Coast Mariners 3, Western United 0.
This year's Alex Tobin Medal is brought to you by Isuzu Ute, awarded to the best player of the season as nominated by the Paramount ANZ football team. The winner of the prestigious award will receive $10,000. Plus, the Isuzu Ute Alex Tobin medalist will nominate a junior football club of choice to win a brand new, top-of-the-range Isuzu D-Max or 7-seat MUX to be announced during the grand final. To stay in touch with the leaderboard, tune in for weekly updates at your home of football.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed, Scott. Let's have a look at what this would all mean for the ladder if it was to stay this way. As mentioned in the first half, the Mariners would move above Melbourne City into 7th spot on goal difference, and Western United would remain bottom no matter what happens elsewhere for another weekend. And John Aloisi has made his move at the break. He's going to make 3 changes, introducing Nikita Rukavica for Lockie Wales, Rami Nazarene for Daniel Pena, and Sebastian Pasquale at the expense of Stephen Lustica. And I'd imagine the temperature in that Western United dressing room at half-time would have been pretty hot. He's never lost 6 games in a row in his coaching career, John Aloisi. Lost 5 in a row on a couple of occasions during his early days with Melbourne Heart, but never 6. But they're really staring down the barrel of that 6th straight loss this evening, Andy Harper.
Yeah, the axe wielded it at half-time, but the defence remains intact. Maybe that's a personnel issue as much as anything. Too stretched, too leaky in midfield, and just not good enough defensively. Now, if there was a blowtorch, can it have effect? Because Western are in the doldrums officially and unequivocally.
Nazarene almost got the weight perfect for that ball through, but offside flag against Rukavica, who's in his mid-30s now, but has still got pace, of course. Back in the A-League for the first time in 8 years. Reminder of the starting lineups at the outset of play. A couple of changes for the Mariners. Miguel De Pizio and Jingrick given their starting debuts for the club, and neither has really disappointed. Just the one change for Western, with Riku Danzaki back in at the expense of Nazarene, who is now on the field. Here is Jingrick. Torres and slide it through for the run of De Pizio. Cut out by Ben Garucho. Thurgate. Danzaki again. Garucho joining in from left back. Rukavica, Danzaki, and they'll get a corner. Western United. As for the Mariners, well, close to the perfect first 45 minutes. All at the outset of a pretty big and strenuous period. 3 away games in the next 8 days to follow. So that cross comes in and headed well over by Risdon. They go, of course, to face Stallion Laguna in the AFC Cup on Tuesday. And follow that up with trips to Melbourne to play Melbourne City, and then Brisbane on the road as well. So a busy period coming up for Mark Jackson's team. I suppose in the second half, with that 3-goal cushion, Harps, he'll be looking at his squad management perhaps with those matches in mind. Got to be mindful, of course, that you don't let things slip.
No, exactly, Simon. You're right. To just put that little rider on things, he'll be in a much happier place at the moment. Team's looking good.
Let's go down to Daniel Garb, who is sidelined for us, and find out what he knows about what happened at half-time.
Yeah, just watching Noah Botic. Hopefully he's okay after holding his foot following that challenge. But it was fiery in the Western United dressing room at half-time. Unsurprisingly, anyone who walked past could hear that it got pretty lively from John Aloisi and his coaching staff. And as you sit here on the sideline and you cast your eyes to the Western United bench, you do have concerns for John Aloisi and his coaching team at the moment. I mean, barring a miracle, that could be 6 losses in a row after tonight, and you just have to wonder how he gets his team out of this rut. He's such a hugely popular figure. We all know that. He's won a championship with this team, but it's a really concerning situation at the moment.
Thanks, Garby. I'm pretty sure, Harps, that nobody will feel the pain of their defensive woes in the first half more than John Aloisi's assistant, Hayden Fox, a defender of some repute. As the visitors break forward, and they've got numbers in this attack. Rukavica's going to have a go, and it might drop here for Angus Thurgate. The first touch just took the ball away from him, and Caltac got a foot in. Mariners still not quite able to clear. Pasquale. And Garucho. Danzaki. Garucho on the overlap, and they chose the wrong route there, Western. Garucho trying to get back goal side of Angel Torres. Nicely done by the Colombian. Depizio sidesteps Danzaki, but couldn't get away from Garuccio. Strong challenge, but a fair one.
Yeah, it's a good mongrel from Andy Garuccio. Depizio just needs to do those things a little bit quicker. He's an impressive youngster. There's no taking that away, but just needs to do those things a little bit sharper, a little bit quicker. Was denied his second senior goal in that first half, you recall. Good save from Thomas Hewitt-Bell.
Western seeing a lot more of the ball in this second half. Of course, it's what you do with it. A lot of the damage has already been done. An intervention by Farrell. He stopped Risdon getting away. No changes made as yet by Mark Jackson.
But you've posed the possibility that Jackson starts thinking, how do I prepare players for the upcoming games? Then you quite rightly said that's courting danger. They're a little bit back in their box to start this second half, the Mariners. Maybe that's been implied that, you know, let's start looking beyond this one, but it's a fatal error potentially. I mean, you wouldn't want to give Western United a sniff.
Tullio. Torres back for Tullio. His front position ahead of him. Nisbet arriving, the cut back. Depizio, good save. Hewitt-Bell with the outstretched left leg. Still there for Angel Torres. And the rebounds wouldn't quite sit for Miguel Depizio.
Didn't do well. A difficult shot on that angle, forced a good save from Hewitt-Bell, but guess who again? Look at Nisbet. And not just the lungs to get there, the smarts to angle the pass almost perfectly. It did ask a bit of Depizio, who was up to it, ultimately forcing that good save from Hewitt-Bell.
Not his first decent stop of the night. Garuccio. Danzaki. These goals Western United need, and that has been the problem for them this season. Drawn a blank on 4 occasions out of the 6 games they've played. This is Pasquale. Najarine. Miguel Torres just threw the arms up, and maybe that was a little bit of a giveaway that there was some contact on Najarine. No foul awarded. And Ballard for the Central Coast. I guess in some ways when you're 3-0 up, Harps, whether you intend to or not, it's almost a natural reaction, isn't it, to sit back a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're still counter-attacking with a bit of purpose, a lot of purpose.
Rue will roll it into the path of Depizio. And he's got away from Jacob Tratt. Depizio, and it spoons up in the air and away off Risdon. Maybe even a bit of the frame of the goal involved as well. We'll see on the replay. And Western were that close to having the door shut in their faces once and for all. This is Farrell. Wins a corner.
Well, what a great chance to finish this one off. And you know, that maybe, Simon, is where the 3-0 sort of slumber kicks in. Depizio does really well here, but they just can't nail it. Can't nail the finish, and it was the crossbar in the end. Sounds like a harsh assessment, but it was the crossbar that denied them in the end. But really, it should be 4. You make that sort of passage that deep into the penalty area, and the team should have found a way to finish that off.
2 chances now for Depizio in the space of a couple of minutes. Here's the corner. Drops for Nisbet. A reset through Max Ballard. Moved forward by Danzaki into the path of Najarine. Thurgate. Nazarene. Jacob Farrell is so sharp, biting in the challenge. Big season for Rami Nazarene. He's one of those players who exploded onto the A-League scene a few years ago, and a lot of potential still as yet unrealised.
Yeah, been around a few clubs as well.
Here are those changes that we fancied might come. Christian Theoharis to replace Miguel de Pizio, who probably feels a bit stiff that he hasn't got a couple of goals tonight. And Jing Ri, who played his part in the third goal for Marco Tullio with that flick on, is to be replaced as well by Alu Kual. Two handy subs to have in reserve for Mark Jackson.
Yeah, and the two players making way. Again, just showing what a great window forward there is for the league. Very exciting. Great to watch these youngsters come through. Do more than just hold their own, and there's a pipeline of them. Now the question is how well and how fast can Alu Kual settle into leading the Mariners line, which is why he was brought back here. Really, the names Tullio and Alu Kual in partnership, based on potential, would send a lot of nervous energy through a lot of defensive units around the league. Fabulously exciting potential, that partnership.
Tullio has his first goal of the season. Alu Kual is joint top scorer, along with Brian Kaltak now with 2 apiece. Rui wins that aerial duel, but then trapped the follow-up. Pasquale, led off by Nazarene for Thurgate. Briston wanted an option wide right, and there wasn't one. Now he has one in the shape of Nazarene. Forward by Imai, touched by Pasquale. Thurgate, driven back by Ballard. Trap on for Garuccio. It's a fortunate deflection which favoured Danzaki. Nazarene. Clip into the edge of the penalty box for Noah Botic, who hangs it up the back post, and it just drops onto the roof of the goal. Not had an awful lot of service, Noah Botic. A couple of chances in the earlier part of the game. One big one that was well saved by Danny Vukovic. But, 2 glum faces. It's the small travelling band of fans from Victoria. Western United's next 3 games, by the way, they're at home to Brisbane, that game at Amy Park. And then 2 away trips to Sydney and to Newcastle. Before the Melbourne double, City and Victory. Not the easiest runs of games on paper.
No, and it's all multiplied by the fact that you actually haven't got a place to call home yourself.
Yep.
Still.
Tani, hopefully not too far away, that training venue that they're constructing. They have played at 7 home grounds. It doesn't help. sure that's 100% to blame for the way they played in the first half.
No, well, on the same backdrop, it would be wrong not to remind people that they did win the competition.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, everything needs a compass. Anyway.
Rather a look of exasperation on the faces of those supporters. Here's Danzaki. They've had a lot more of the ball in the second half. Yet to really trouble Danny Vukovic. The best two chances have fallen the way of Miguel de Pizio, who's now departed, of course, at the other end for the Mariners. They're quite comfortable at the moment. This is Jacob Farrell. Game's just in a little bit of a lull at the moment, Hubs.
Yeah, well, talking of players needing to get back, Jacob Farrell, maybe a bit of a canary in the coal mine from the Mariners discussion this season, because he's a fantastic player, come up through the Central Coast, was central, and let's not forget his contributions off the bench tellingly in the finals last year. And a lot of noise around Jacob about, you know, when's it time for him to move overseas, etc., etc. And I buy into that as well. Sluggish start to the season, perhaps mirrored by his sluggishness. His form didn't cause the team's lack of wins. Hence why I've drawn the parallel with the canary in the coal mine analogy. But he's looking better as the season's going on and needs to get back where he was, because he's got a huge future, I think.
That's a good ball by Danzaki. Voltic losing out. Pasquale try and set things up again. Briston, Imai, back by Thurgate, forward by Tratt, Garuccio. Paul got a foot in, but still there for Western. Thurgate, Danzaki, Najari. And they find that incisive pass, Western. Mariners back in numbers and well set. Imai. Briston. Clip into Rukavica, who was a bit strong on that return for Najjarine, who was then reaching for the ball ahead of Kuhl. Or Kuhl, I should say. Freudian.
Hasn't he been linked with Yokohama F. Marinos? What's he doing in the stadium?
That's the mail. Evan Muscat, having left the club that he led to the championship, of course, not the season just gone, but the season before.
And we should, on the back of that, Simon, I think, congratulate Kevin for his huge success in that extraordinarily difficult league. And we look with interest to see where he pops up next.
Pasquale. Najjarine. Foul by Theoharis. Mariners moving into double figures in terms of fouls. Just the one yellow card issued tonight to Josh Risdon. Here's Najjarine. That's a better ball. That's a really good intervention from Dan Hall. Needed every inch of that long frame. And a foul by Qual. All those second half stats tell a story, at least at first glance, of Western United domination, but they barely laid a glove on Danny Vukovic.
No, yet to make a save, I think, Danny. They've controlled the ball better, much better. And they haven't had to turn and chase the Mariners with sloppy touches or passes, so that's helped stem the tide a little bit. The Mariners have sat back a bit too, happy to defend in a block, haven't gone out of their way to really put Western under pressure. All this has combined to Western United enjoying more possession in a better part of the field, but really yet to breach the Mariners' back line.
Now the change being readied by Western United. Michael Roos is going to be the next cab off the rank. Former Mariners player himself, of course. See if they can find a goal from somewhere and just give them a little bit of a glimmer in this game. Because the more they push, the more gaps they will leave for the likes of Tulio here to exploit. Into the path of Torres, who just really passes it back to Hewitt Bell. He was looking for Thea Harris at that far post. Substitute not quite in position. The Mariners, for their part, will want their first clean sheet of the campaign. Mark Jackson demanded it pre-match. They're almost 2/3 of the way to securing that. And if they do win tonight, which looks likely, it will be just one loss in the last 6 in League and AFC Cup, starting to build a bit of momentum. Torres shifting inside, fancies a goal himself tonight. Angel Torres. Ballard. Nisbet. Caltac for Farrell. Thea Harris on the left.
You're not really seeing anyone in white shirts busting a gut to make a tackle, win the ball. They're just pretty happy to jockey people away into space, and I just don't know if that's going to be good enough to break the pattern of this game. And look at the time to turn. Really, someone needs to stick a couple of fireworks up a couple of derrieres out there. Very, very happy for the Mariners to have the ball. I don't know if they've got that luxury. Look at this.
You get that from Michael Roos, who's going to be with us next break in play. He will chase and harry. Brisbane slips the ball through, and Botic is away on the right. Rukovica in the centre. Nanzaki waiting too. It falls for Thurgate. Not far off. Here's that change for John Aloisi. Riku Danzaki's not really been able to impact the game tonight. Here's that chance some moments ago. Goodness me, that was close from Thurgate.
Very close. Very close. Error from the Mariners upfield, and you just saw before the substitution Danny Vukovic was quite enjoying watching the football match, actually. Quite enjoying not having to defend his goal, and Thurgate went very close, and Danny was straight out and into his teammates. That was just sloppiness.
Jacob Trapp went flying through the air, landed very heavily on that left shoulder, and he's going to need a bit of attention here. Maybe a chance for the Mariners just to regroup a little bit. Not that they've been... Oh dear. Oh. That's a nasty one.
I had to look away because one thing I can't stand is those replays. You know an injury's coming. So I'll take your word for it.
Not just the shoulder, but the head bouncing off the turf as well.
When we had the close-up, he did look a little bit dazed.
Well, they'll take all the time they need with Jacob Trapp. Here you go, Harps. Can you watch this one? Oof. Goodness me. It's a very, very awkward fall. Well, he looks to be speaking coherently to the medical team of Western United. Which, of course, brings to mind the old joke of Bob Paisley when the medico went back to him and said he doesn't know who he is. He said, go back and tell him he's Pele. Well, he's won his share of duels tonight, Jacob Trapp, but fortunately for Western, not that he's solely to blame. The first 25 minutes, he and his fellow defenders did not deal with 2 corners. That's really been the key to this match. It's always going to be a long way back for Western on the back of that. They still might do it, of course, but it doesn't really look likely.
No, that Thurgate effort was as close as they've come. It was a good one from Angus, but he did have time, measured it, just couldn't quite, in the end, get the detail right.
Slices and pushes from Christian Theoharis on Josh Risdon.
They've already got one Pele on the field anyway, Simon. The Port Macquarie Pele.
That's true.
Well, you want Western United to have 2 goats on the field at once.
You hated those nicknames, Harps.
I didn't say I like it, I just transmitted it.
Michael Roos. Trapped. Chested down by Roos. Thurgate. All the way forward for Risdon, but gets the throw off Theoharis. He was such a good impact player for the Mariners off the bench last season. I'm sure he'd love to be starting. Talking of promising youngsters, as we were in the first half, seems another one. He exploded onto the scene with Melbourne victory. Sebastian Pasquale the same. There's a few careers being relaunched in the Isuzu Ute A-League men's competition.
Pasquale got himself to Ajax on the back, if you recall, of a stunning performance as a youngster against Juventus in a friendly match. Well, I'm sure there are other factors contributing, but that certainly wouldn't have hurt.
It's well won back by Risdon. Steered away by Hall. Bouncing ball favours Torres. Unfortunately beats Qual. Now Michael Roos stolen the march on Jacob Farrell, but it's great cover provided by Caltech. He's so good at doing that, isn't he? Anticipation by the big central defender. Nazarin just fell over his own feet. Tullio.
Well, the Mariners fans, Simon, will be very happy that they're getting close to being able to bank the 3 points, but you could expect and imagine that they're actually at this point wanting a bit more. And they're certainly not wanting to allow Western United back into the game.
Yeah, bizarrely, the XG has accelerated quite a bit in the second half. Go figure.
That's not the Forta. Yeah, you're just wondering who from the Mariners now is going to be prepared to drive this on. Harrison Steele's going to get his chance.
Angel Torres is the man to be replaced. He got an assist to his name tonight. corner in the 24th minute. I don't think he's too happy to be going off. A few choice words in Spanish under his breath. As he's replaced by Harrison Steele.
He's looking better. Did some really good things tonight, looking better. And it can take players a while to settle in. The comparisons will continue to be made between he and ostensibly the guy who replaced Benny and Kololo. I think he made some ground in that discussion tonight. Probably feels himself he was starting to get a little bit of momentum to his game, and disappointed to have been taken off.
Well, look at that final third entry, second half, 24 for Western United, and yet that shot from Angus Thurgate aside, it's difficult to remember really a clear-cut opportunity.
So Steele and Ballard partners now in midfield. There's a roaming licence, it seems, now for Joshy Nisbet. You see him just pushing further forward there at the top of the midfield.
Being converted into a number 10. Certainly technically adept enough to play that position. I do think the low centre of gravity helps. A lot's made, of course, of his height, but it just gives him that advantage on occasion in tight spaces. He is on the ball. Now Theoharis. Tulio opens himself up to play in Storm Roux. And Roux to get to the byline and float it, and Kual heads over the top. That was a really well-worked move, that by the Mariners.
Wasn't it, indeed? And they required a fair degree of athleticism from Alu Kual at the end. But Tulio, Remy Nazarene just a yard behind. And didn't read that, I don't know quite how, but it was a yard behind, and Storm Roux drops a dangerous one in. Alu Kual showed great athleticism to get on the end of it. A difficult chance.
You do sense that that goal threat is back for the Mariners. You mentioned in the first half, the loss of Jason Cummings and Benny and Kololo. You can add Sammy Silvera to that as well.
Big miss from me, indeed, Simon.
38 goals between them in all competitions last season. It's a lot to replace.
It is. I'm glad you reminded us of Sammy. It was neglectful of me not to. Tulio's drifting out onto the right now. Paul playing as a centre forward. Just imagine the electricity that's going to go through this team when Alu Kual finds his feet and hits his straps. There's a lot still for the Mariners to play for, finding some rhythm. Been a bit flatter in this second half. Really driven home the advantage that they've earned for themselves.
It's coming back from an offside position. Change for Western United. Angus Thurgate, who probably came closest of anyone for the visitors tonight, gives way in favour of Matt Grimaldi, who's on for his 4th appearance of the season, all off the bench. Youngster who scored as a substitute against the Gold Coast Knights, of course, in the round of 16 of the Australia Cup for Western. Here come the Mariners again. Harris's cross could so easily have been an own goal, but steered safely behind. Right track for a corner.
Yeah, just can't quite put them away. Pretty routine give and go on the far touchline. Then the field opens up to, I think, probably the best player in the field tonight, Josh Nisbet. Couldn't quite get the angle. Alu Kual steaming in at the near post.
Well, they haven't had too many corners in the second half. The Mariners did great damage from these sorts of situations in the first. Marco Tulio getting a bit of stick, I think, from the Western fans, which given the scoreline he's quite enjoying. And Garuccio deals with that one. Tullio again. More elevation this time. Kaltak keeps it alive, and it needed that paw from Hewitt-Bell to steer it behind.
Good goalkeeping from Tom Hewitt-Bell. Speaking of athleticism, he asks a little bit of Brian Kaltak there, doesn't he, Tullio? But ask what you want, I'll get there, he says. He's amazing. He's an amazing athlete. Kaltak. Good goalkeeping from Hewitt-Bell.
Hall and Kaltak waits. He gets a reprise there. First half heroics. It's going to be the outswinger this time from Tullio, which will favour them. And it's still not completely away. Jacob Farrell! Surely! Poked it! Aluqual! Almost on the goal line. He claims it. And a cherry on top of the cake for the Central Coast Mariners. And yet again, Western United could not deal with the set piece.
Harvey Norman replay tells its own story. 4-0, 3 goals from corners. Jacob Farrell on the rebound, disappointed he didn't get his name on the sheet. They'll run the lines for offside on this one. Whilst we look at the mayhem, it's a good fierce hit from Jacob Farrell. Question as to whether Kaltak was in an onside position when the ball is hit, making a nuisance of himself in the first instance. Aluqual there to tow the ball home.
It's actually his 3rd goal in 4 matches. Assuming it does stand, of course. Jacob Farrell disappointed that his effort ricocheted into his path via Kaltak and into the net of Qual. Late change for the Central Coast. Storm Ruiz played his part. Michael Docker is going to get the last few minutes. What is going to be a thumping victory for Mark Jackson's team. Back to the drawing board on set pieces this week, you fancy, for Western United.
They'll be wishing they played the game on an oval.
Don't wind me up.
Not an oval configuration, oval lines. Because they're not dealing with the corners.
There we go, he's behind, only just behind as well. Some pretty esteemed company there, isn't he, in this particular fixture? That's Marisha and Jason Cummings. Remember, he scored a couple off the bench to win the game for the Mariners in this fixture in his first spell with the club. And he was Johnny on the spot there, just ahead of Jacob Trapp, to poke home his 3rd goal of this current campaign. Tapping, it might have been Harps, but as a striker yourself, and a pretty good one in the day. You don't care about how they arrive.
No, not at all. In fact, you know, you get your share of those. It just builds you into the rest of your game. Not that he's been poor at all, but there's a lot of expectation around his return, and I just can only repeat just how exciting the prospects are for the Mariners fans. This team becomes the sum of its parts. 4-0's not going to hurt. Meanwhile, the other side of that discussion is a pretty bedraggled outfit from the western suburbs of Melbourne.
Pasquale, Nashery, Garuccio, Pasquale again. guess the question, Harps, is inevitably going to be asked about John Aloisi's future on the back of 6 straight losses. Beloved figure, though he might be across the country, and of course championship winner with the club season before last. But the longer this run goes on, the more the pressure will build.
Yeah, theoretically, and of course no one will feel more aggrieved by the situation than the coach, but I can't imagine Western moving, really.
Could be a chance to get on the board for them here, but Nazarin just couldn't quite bring it under his control.
But that's just me. You know, the boardroom might be getting a bit antsy. They'll certainly be disappointed with the lack of results. Whether it's going to be enough for them to pull the trigger, I just can't see it. So many other issues around at the moment.
Risden. No way forward for Roos. There Harris, lucky bounce there, favours the Mariners. Farrell's away down the left. It's completely overhit the cross. Almost hit the sauce bottles.
Well, you don't want to do that. That could get messy.
You're keen as mustard for that joke, weren't you? Paramount Plus Player Index tonight. Ryan Calter, top of the shop. Not just his goal, but his overall performance. Really, you could make a case for any number of Mariners players to be in the top 3. This guy's been brilliant for me. Nisbet. Buell couldn't reach it. Docker. Tidied up by Ben Garucha. Bit of an arm wrestle on that far side. Favours Western United. Garucha. Another turnover. Nisbet, and there are spaces appearing. Western pushing numbers up, trying to get on the board. Via Harris. And then reaching around to try and win the ball back, committing the foul. Dan Hall in no particular hurry. Farrell. The game just seemingly petering out to its inevitable conclusion. Loose one from Farrell. Give Western a late chance to at least get on the scoreboard, and as trite as that might sound, on the back of popping full the other way, maybe a psychological barrier to be broken, just getting on the board. They've failed to do that so many occasions already this season. Able to get around Farrell, who's another one who's been excellent tonight. In the air by Imai.
How good was that? And he's bringing that ball down on the turn with his thigh.
Less so by Ballard.
Yeah, Maxi couldn't compliment that great effort. And Hall can. And he's away again.
Dan Hall wants to join in with an attack here. Played in midfield, of course. It's a round 1 challenge. Great energy shown in the 91st minute of the game now by the centre-back. Leaves it for Theoharis. It was an incredible burst, and he's still there, Dan Hall. And clips it up for Tullio. Sees his shot cannon back off the post. Still there for Docker, and Qual trying to guide the ball onto his head before Trapp saw it behind. Well, Dan Hall with an amazing burst of energy.
Wasn't it a great charge? And then beautiful touch on that ball. And the post saving Western from a fifth. And then Docker's ball over the top was tasty as well. And it was aiming and arcing towards Alu Qual. And it was Jacob Trapp who got a much needed deflection, intentional. Now, conceded 3 goals from corners. They'll be able to hold 1 away.
And it comes. No, did that go over the line? Alu Qual. What a header. And Tom Hewitt-Bell grateful to the crossbar for sparing further embarrassment.
Wow, that would have been insult upon humiliation. To have conceded 4 goals from corners, and they were that close. A top header from Alu Qual.
Wasn't it just? I mean, every time they win a corner, they look like scoring, Mariners.
Which makes you wonder why they went for the variation that
Yeah.
time in the first half. Anyway, got it out of their system, and now they're just knocking it in. Here we go. Again. And it's really poor. And very fortunate not to be 5. Not Qual, of course, he was excellent with the header.
Well, there's going to be an inquest as to the set-piece defending, I think, this week at Western United. Meantime, deep into stoppage time, Theoharis carries the ball forward. And fires it to the side netting, goodness me. It was almost a lazy, languid approach from Theoharis. But that shot packed a bit of curry behind it.
But he does sometimes carry the ball. Looks like he's doing the Cliff Young shuffle. And then he sucks in a defender, which is his go. Yeah, there you go. Looks like the potato farmer there. Cliffy Young on the ultra marathon. Bang! To keep people awake and interested. Hewitt-Bell certainly was interested. Very interested and grateful to see the ball go wide of the post.
Final minutes of the 4 additional allotted. This game has long since been decided in terms of the result. Just really been a matter of how many for the Central Coast. Looks as though they put the cue in the rack at 4. Head off to Asia during the week. Now they will play Stallion Laguna. The win there will secure top spot in the AFC Cup. And tonight it was close to the perfect performance by Mark Jackson's team. The Central Coast Mariners gained further momentum. 7 points from a possible 9 now from 3 home matches as the champions continue to recover from their slow starts. But for Western United, it's now 6 defeats on the bounce. Storm clouds brewing for John Aloisi on his return to Gosford. They will remain rock bottom for another week at least, and they paid the price for some really shoddy set-piece defending tonight. 3 goals conceded from corners, 2 in the first 25 minutes. Dan Hall and Brian Kaltak. Marco Tullio added a 3rd, his first of the season, and then Alu Qual with a 4th off the bench. In truth, it could have been more, but at the end of the 90 plus stoppages, 4 is the margin. Central Coast Mariners 4, Western United 0. Well, he got his clean sheet, Mark Jackson. And in truth, Western United offered pretty little in attack. Lots to do for them on the training paddock this week. Let's go down to Dan Garb and get some reaction.
Simon, thank you. And with the heart and soul of the Mariners side in Josh Nisbet. Josh, congratulations on the performance tonight. Is that as much fun as you've had at this football club since the grand final win?
Yeah, look, it's been a little bit tough since the grand final, and yeah, to be able to get the clean sheet for Vuka was pretty incredible, and yeah, we took our chances tonight.
It seemed like you were building in the right direction over the last 3 games or so. How were you able to take it to the next level tonight?
I think it's just sort of applying it. I think maybe we were a little bit reserved or not getting stuck in, but look, the process was coming, and you could see it sort of developing over the last few games, and yeah, it sort of took its go now.
And there's depth now in the attacking third as well. I mean, it seems like a range of players are starting to contribute. How important is that?
Yeah, it is. We had Jay last year who scored so many goals, and we're sort of this way we're going to score goals, and it's also going to be everyone doing it. And yeah, and congratulations to Gingy and Mixie for their starting debut tonight.
Joshua, was a big win. Enjoy it.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Scott, thank you. I'm with Western United captain in Josh Risdon. Josh, I saw you just went over to the fans who have made the trip over here. What did you have to say to them?
Oh, no, look, just thanking them for the support for coming out. You know, it's been a tough start to the season for us. You know, the games previously we've been playing good, but, you know, I think today was definitely not our best, and we can do a lot better than that. Second half, we put up a bit of a fight, but the game was done, and yeah, I think we just had a lack of effort in the first half. Didn't really stick to our game plan, and we got punished. So yeah, look, it's a long season. We just got to keep being positive, just keep working at what we know, and hopefully the results can come.
6 losses in a row. I mean, how deep is the rut for you? How concerning is it for you as captain?
Oh, look, it's just hard. I've put a lot of pressure on myself, I think, you know, being a leader and trying to help the team, you know, do better. But look, to be honest, you know, it's been very positive within the group. You know, we're staying together. You know, no one's pointing fingers. We're just sticking together, and that's all we can do at the moment. You know, I think, you know, today we let ourselves down a bit. But we got a game on Friday night at Amy. We like playing there, and you know, hopefully we can get a win and, you know, kickstart our season. You know, we got something really looking forward to towards the back end of the season, moving out to our home ground, and, you know, there's positive things in the future, and we just got to, you know, stick together and keep pushing, and that's all we can ask for.
Thanks, Josh. All the best.
Cheers. Thanks.